Yo guys, what's up? It's Card Shuffler 99 here today. First of all, thank you guys for 30k subs. Thank you guys so much for that. Also, check out our Instagram, CardShuffler_99. Hit all those good buttons, like button, subscribe button, and notification button, which is that bell. Second we post, you guys can check us out. Adam, let's get to this idea or trick, whatever you would like to call it.
Alright, so basically I'm going to explain in one video. It might be a little bit of a lengthy video, but I'm going to talk about one of the most practical and one of the most, I guess, a lot of people would call it impossible street performance card tricks that you can do, and that is available on the market. Now, this is known as the invisible deck, okay? Now, basically what this trick is, you ask someone, well, I guess the simplest version of this trick is where you ask someone to name a card, and their card is the only card face down in the pack, okay? And this can work for any card, and a lot of people say, oh my gosh, that is completely impossible, okay? Now, this video is going to be a little bit different. It's not just going to be a review and a video on how the invisible deck works. Not just that, I'm actually going to show you guys how you can make your own invisible deck. I can show you guys, at the end of the video, I'll be showing you guys some uses for the invisible deck. So everybody knows the standard trick where you say, name a card, and then, your card's the only face down card. Well, I'm going to expand upon that. I'm going to show you guys other uses for this deck, as well as I'm going to show you guys I'll give you guys a little bonus trick that you can use the invisible deck for. Okay? So stay tuned for that. Now, if you already know how the invisible deck works, highly recommend you guys skip through the video if you want to learn about how to make one. If you already know how to make one, then you can always skip forward to the uses, kind of, near the end of the video where I show you guys tricks and, uses for this specific effect, okay? So, let's talk about, real quick, before I get into my review, I'm going to explain to you guys how this works, okay? So, basically, this is a deck, and a lot of people call it, a deck with two sides. So, basically, this is a deck that has cards that are basically back-to-back, okay? So, these are paired cards. And each pair of cards, okay, is stuck together by this kind of matte finish. So basically, it's kind of like a sandpaper, it's a rough finish that basically holds the cards together. Now, it's not like glue to the point where, the cards are never going to split apart. But it is going to hold together as you spread through the deck. And it is able to be, split apart with your fingers, okay? So once again, it's kind of like the sandpaper, kind of texture, kind of rough feel. If you kind of rub the cards here, I'll rub it for you guys. You can kind of, it's kind of this rough texture, I guess you could call it. Not really sure how you guys would describe that, okay? But all you need to know about this deck is that each pair of cards is going to add up to 13. So in this case, a 2 and a jack is 13. A jack, once again, is the value of 11. An 8 and a 5, 2 and jack, queen, ace, 6, 7, 4, 9, and so on and so forth. And all the, they're all going to add up to 13, okay? And the last thing you would need to know is that all the cards on this side are going to be even, and then all the cards on the other side are odd. So, you're going to need to know which side is even, which side's odd, because, as you perform the trick, you're going to need to know which side to take the deck out of, because obviously you can't take the deck out and just flip it over, obviously, because that'll just give away the entire effect. And lastly, diamonds are paired with clubs for throughout the entire deck here, and spades are with hearts. Easy way you guys can memorize that is spades, in a way are kind of similar to a heart in its appearance, okay? But that is really all you need to know. Once again, all the pairs add up to 13, and diamonds are paired with clubs, and hearts are paired with spades. That's really all you need to know in order to perform this effect, okay? Now, I'm going to go through a quick run through of how this kind of would go down. So, basically, let's say someone names a card like the 3 of diamonds, okay? The 3 of diamonds, for example. What you're going to need to do is some mental math. Yes, I know you're going to have to do mental math. Nobody wants to do that, but, trust me, it's worth it. So, like I said, because all the pairs add to 13, what you're going to need to do is you need to do a little bit of mental math. So you're going to take 13 and you're going to subtract it from the you're going to subtract it by the value of the card they name. So in this case, 3 of diamonds, 13 minus 3 is 10. So I'll be looking for a 10, okay? Now, just that subtraction right there, you need to know how you orient the deck in the box. So, for example, I always like to have the even side facing up. Okay, so like I'll have the even side in the deck like this. Like I'll put it in to the box like this, because let's say they name an odd card, you're gonna have to take the deck out on the even side. So in this case, they named the 3 of diamonds. I'm gonna be opening to the even side, so I'll take the deck out like this. Let's say they named an even card, I'll be taking the deck out like this. Okay, so in this case, we're going with the 3 of diamonds. So once again, I'll be looking for a 10 because 13 minus 3 is 10. And diamonds are with clubs, so I'll be looking for the 10 of clubs. So all you would do is you would spread through like a normal deck. Bam, you see the 10 of clubs. You're going to split the 10 of clubs apart. And right there, you can reveal that the only face down card is their card, the 3 of diamonds. So that is the simplest way you can perform this effect, okay? Now, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of my review on this. You know, if I had to rate the invisible deck in terms of its effect, in terms of its, you know, durability and everything, I would definitely give, especially the bicycle invisible deck, an 8 or a 9 out of 10. Okay? Now, this deck will last you a few months to a year. It really depends on how much you're using it. So, you know, if you're going to use this every day, it should only last you a few months. But if you're not going to use it that much, you can definitely, you know, take this and it'll probably last you a good year. And what I mean by last, I mean, you know, the stickiness is not going to last forever, and eventually when you spread through, the cards will just split apart on its own, and it's no longer an invisible deck. But you can buy an invisible deck for like $6, maybe $5, $6, $7 if you're here in the US. On Amazon, you can get it for that price. And once it does wear off, you can do one of two things. One, you could take the deck and you can honestly just turn it into a normal bicycle deck. Okay, where you can just take the cards and, you know, put it in normal orientation. They're not going to stick anymore at that point. So you can turn it into a normal bicycle deck, or you can actually replenish the stickiness, or, you know, that kind of rough texture, the matte finish. And all you need to do is buy matte finish spray. So credit to this method goes out to Miss Mag. I'm sure a lot of guys have taught this before. This is a way you can replenish the texture of the cards, or, you know, that kind of, you know, coating of the cards, I guess you could call it. Or you can actually use this method to make your own invisible deck. So this is how you can make your own invisible deck. All you would do is you would just take cards, your whole deck, doesn't matter what deck, especially if you're making your own. You're just going to put them all face down, you know, on a table or something. Make sure you have some cloth underneath it. Just take some matte finish spray over. You're going to want to put a couple coatings, let it dry, and then make sure you take the 2 cards that match, put them together, and they'll actually stick. Now, like I said, you can use the matte finish to actually replenish the coating of the invisible deck yourself, or again, like I said, you can make your own invisible deck if you wanted to. It doesn't matter, but definitely, you know, if you can't buy an invisible deck, highly recommend that you guys make your own with matte finish. Okay, and definitely the matte finish, 1 can of that spray can definitely make a lot of invisible decks. Okay, so now that we got through all of that, I'm going to talk about some uses, I guess you could say, for this deck. Okay, so this is definitely a really cool deck of cards, like I said. So what else can you do with this deck, I guess you could say, besides just your standard name a card, your card's the only face down card? Well, for one thing, this deck and this specific effect can be combined with any card trick. So one of the things I highly recommend you guys use this for is a prediction, okay? Basically what you can do is you can have this inside, you know, the box from the beginning of the trick, and you perform a card trick, right? But instead of having your typical prediction where you take a piece of paper and you write down a card, you can actually use the invisible deck, okay? And what's cool about this is the invisible deck, okay? This actually allows for you to not have to force a card. So practically every prediction trick in the world, you have to force a card for the prediction to match, right? So, you know, typically what happens is you have a pre-written prediction and then you force a card. This, you can do it a completely different way. If you use this as your prediction, right, where basically, you know, the prediction would be, you know, at the end of the trick, when you reveal your prediction, you could say, you know, I took the deck before the trick even started, and I turned 1 card face down, right? And that's basically the prediction, I guess you could call it, right? So if you use this as a prediction, not only is it a powerful prediction, but you don't have to force the card, like I said, because any card could be face down in this pack of cards, right? So you could actually, you know, instead of forcing a card and, you know, having a match the prediction, you can have them, you know, you could start your prediction trick without even forcing the card, okay? And just like that, you can have the prediction match every single time without even forcing a card. So that's a great way to do a prediction effect. But like I said, you can really take this and put it to any trick. You know, adding this to the end of the trick, for any trick, you know, you can do something as simple as Triumph, for example, okay? And that thought of having a card, you know, turning over, where you say, you know, let's say you're using this deck right here, you do the Triumph effect, and you basically say, well, check it out, one card turns face up in the pack, or, you know, you could do it the other way, I guess you could say. One card turns face down in the pack, and it's your card, blah, blah, blah. You basically, you know, you can go on and you say, well, remember, I had this deck here from the beginning of the trick, and what I did was I actually flipped over a random card from the beginning, and then, you know, you would do the invisible deck, and it would match that their selected card. Or you could, you know, it could be something as simple as like a spelling card trick, where, you know, they just select a random card, and you do some random trick with it, and, you know, at the end of the trick, you can really turn any trick into, a, you know, a prediction trick with the invisible deck. But I'm going to give you guys a quick bonus trick. This is definitely a great card trick that you can perform with the invisible deck. And this is the same thought of using a prediction, but I'm going to give you guys, you know, a full trick, I guess you could say, that you can do. So, you're going to start out the trick, invisible deck. That's gonna be your prediction deck, right? And you're gonna say, I have a prediction in this box. And the other deck you're going to need is going to be in the size, step, and stack. So, you're going to have to look this up because I don't have time to explain this in this video, but we have many videos on this stack. If you guys want us to make a video on how to actually make this stack yourself, let us know. But I'll give you guys a quick rundown of what this is. All the cards are increasing by 3. Okay, so each increasing card is going by 3, and it's in chased order, meaning clubs, hearts, spades, diamonds. So once again, this is known as the size, step, and stack. It's kind of like a tongue twister there. And that's all you need to know. So what I like to do for this trick is I start out, and you can actually have the spectator cut the deck around. It doesn't change the order of the cards. They're all still going to be increasing by 3, but they can't give it like a riffle shuffle. You can only have them like cut it one at a time, I guess you could say. But what I do is I spread the deck out, and I say go ahead and flip over a random card and put it right back in face up. So in this case, they take a random card, they put it right back in face up, okay? What I'm going to do is I can actually, with the size, step, and stack, I can tell you how many cards this packet of cards is, okay? So how do I do that? All you're going to need to do is cut the cards so you have a high value card on the bottom, okay? In this case, we'll put a king on the bottom, okay? So especially if you have them cut, make sure, you know, if they don't cut to a high card on the bottom, you know, you cut it yourself, and you could say whatever you want to say. Once you get a high card on the bottom, so in this case it's a king. What you're going to do is you're going to take a random card, okay, and you're going to flip it over, or they can flip it over face up, right? In this case, queen, okay? All you're going to do is you're going to take the value of the bottom card, subtract it by the value of the card they flip over. So in this case, king minus queen is going to be 1 because it's 13 minus 12. That's 1. You're going to take that value, you're going to multiply it by 4, okay? So no matter what the value is, no matter, it's going to work for every card here, 4. So 1 times 4 is 4, okay? From there, if this is not 4 cards, clearly this is not 4 cards, you're going to add or subtract increments of 13. In this case, I'm probably going to add increments of 13. So 4 plus 13 is 17. This means this is going to be about 17 cards. Now, let's say this is not, you know, 17 cards. Let's say you have a big pile of cards. You would just add 13 again. So you add in increments of 13 until it looks about to be that size. In this case, I think this is 17, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 cards, right? And basically, you know, I do that effect, and they're blown away, and then basically I put the cards back together, I spread it out, and I basically say, remember, you got to flip over any card, right? It could have been any card. Well, from the beginning of the trick, I actually flipped over a random card in this deck as well. And you go through, you do the invisible deck, and the card that you supposedly flipped over yourself actually matched. Now, you do need an invisible deck to do this effect because obviously they have a completely free selection over what card they get to flip over. But this is just a really great way to perform a trick, definitely with the invisible deck. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, kind of review and, you know, kind of full out tutorial on the invisible deck. So anyway, that is all for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and this is Card Shuffler 99. Peace out.